The significance of what follows will strike you most if you bear in mind every image is part of one giant image. I've often wondered if I'm just crazy, if I have any real talent, or whether instead, as my father insisted, I overestimate the quality, the value or the importance of my work, the gifts, if that's what they are, that I've been given. I need at times to mock myself and my work. I think abstractly, deeply, incessantly. When I look at what I've written, the conclusions I've reached, it's hard to say them without sounding pompous, feeling self-conscious. It'd be all too easy to get fatally caught up in my head, to get lost in a world of ideas. All that I say about my work is true and, I believe, worth saying. I wouldn't say it otherwise. I love when I experience another's art and it enriches me. And, well, that's what I'm trying to do. Enrich the lives of those who take the time to relax and enjoy my work.
In the grand tradition of P.T. Barnum and the greatest show on earth, I give you a true wonder to behold. It is a bold claim indeed, and I make no apology for making it, that what you are about to see will be the single most remarkable, most stunning work of art you will ever see. Yet here is not just the outpourings of inspired madness. It is the apotheosis of art.
To quote from Tobias Seaman, magic confuses delightedly the fixed categories of our mundane world in order to make space for wonder. I spent most of my adult life focusing on music. I never really considered art as a possibility as a career. When I look back, it seems odd because art was so easy. It was just something that I'd always done. If I was sitting on a train or a bus somewhere and someone was sitting opposite me, I would often find that I would, with my finger on my thigh, be drawing the outline of the person's face. I don't know where the faces come from. I tend to see them scattered throughout the picture. Change your point of view and the faces change. I consider my job to be trying to save as many faces as possible. It's necessary to bring them out somewhat in order to make them visible to others. Unfortunately, increased definition in one place necessitates a loss of definition elsewhere. As I draw out one or a few personalities, many potential other personalities slip away. Just simply putting the brush to the paper immediately destroys them. They disappear, vanish, as if they'd never been there. But I think I can be proud of my work. I've somehow managed to preserve, create a huge number of personalities all coexisting with each other. The best moments of creation, I don't know, there's just a total sense of freedom. I get lost in the zone. I just play with my paints and brushes and all these wondrous forms emerge. It really is like a dance, dancing with energy, and magic somehow comes out of this explosion of brushstrokes, seemingly unconscious. I guess it's not really unconscious. It's more like it's happening so much faster than what my conscious mind can possibly keep up with. It's doing without thinking. It's so zen. But then there are other times where it's so painfully slow, where I can see things and I know that I have to consciously bring those things out. Please also bear in mind that this is a work in progress. I like to see Yetzirah as a gateway to higher dimensions. There are infinitely many focal points. It is fractal at the edges, which are everywhere, and multi-dimensional from outside the image.
Enter the magic, the mystery, and the madness of Yetzirah, the world of dreaming, where everything is alive and all that lives has a face. This is the source of imaginings, where fantasy is born. Here, reality is but a transient dream, and dreams are all you can be certain of. All sense of self, all separation dissolves in the light of inspiration. Through infinite celestial spheres I soar, bound to an immovable earth no more. The flame that burned through incarnation returns to its source in a burst of glory, and matter is drawn into heaven. This is divine realization. This is ego annihilation. This is more than I am. This is the higher mind, inspired mind of man. Yetzirah is a story, but the roles of character and space are reversed. The hero of the story is space, and the setting is constructed from the characters. It is these, the faces and personalities, which give form to Yetzirah. Their existence defines the spatial geometry of the world of formation. Perhaps I should say Yetzirah isn't a story, it's the well from which storytellers draw. It is an image, and it is so much more. Yetzirah is at the same time a dreamscape, the abode of the incorporeal, and a gateway to higher states of mind. Life isn't a song, it's a symphony,
and paintings can extend into infinite dimensions, intersecting fractally. There are no edges. Nothing exists in isolation. Science has shown us that our intuitions about the nature of space and time are wrong. The centre of the universe is everywhere. There is no such thing as absolute space or time. How we obsess over past and future, robbing ourselves of the only time that for us truly exists, the present.
I don't always paint. In order to be able to paint, I need times to not paint. What do I do with those times? Mostly study. It's left brain, right brain switch. I'm dominant in one side for a time, but in time, that part of the brain wants to rest. The other, now rested, makes the tag, and it's then its turn to dominate. The left brain feeds the right brain. The right feeds the left. Yetzirah is a Hebrew word. It means foundation. According to the mystical tradition of the Kabbalah, it is the world of dreaming, the astral plane. Through it, the higher mind, inspired by the eternal presence of the divine spark, speaks to the lower mind, clothing itself as it does so in the pictures and images of the astral plane. For images are the words of the language used by our ancestral minds. Long before the subtleties of language, our minds thought in images. Solidity, separation, division, these are the ultimate illusion. Everything is part of the whole, and the whole flows into every part. Whilst the mind clothes energy in visions of form which flow ceaselessly into and out of each other, the soul perceives that which is changeless, the thread of unity from which the fabric of existence is woven. There is darkness too, perhaps even more disturbing because it is juxtaposed against so much light and play. This is my vision of the astral plane, peopled by spirits of the departed, tribal totems and archetypes, images of gods, myths, and the spontaneous outpourings of my own subconscious mind. It all started back in 1987. I was only 21, a very young father. It began with a wizard's face, just a drawing, just for fun, and then a picture of a gathering of folk for song and dance and merriment. And then a whole bunch of other pictures began pouring out until I had a complete story, the magic of midsummer, of which For the Name of the Wizard was a small part. For me, you can't separate art and science. It is a thrill to see the way patterns in the world correlate to symbols that we create. It seems magical, if not miraculous, the way the language of mathematics describes forces and events in the material world. Thoughts are a subjective experience accompanying waves of electricity as they pass through the brain. Energy, electricity, flowing through another form of energy, the brain. Existence implies movement. Movement through time as each moment replaces that which preceded it. Energy enables movement. Life requires energy. Existence requires energy. Everything is energy in all of its marvelous, varied forms. It's the nature of space and time to bend. for energies to condense into whirls and eddies so tight they take on permanence or semi-permanence, and we call them matter. As I said at the beginning, everything that you've been seeing up until now has been part of one huge image. This is how it looks hanging in my room, my garage, where I live, where I paint. You can get a clear perspective of its size here. But the thing is, this is only one panel of 4. Keep your eyes concentrated on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. There. These other 3 panels are at the moment very embryonic, and it is my greatest desire to be able to bring them to the same level of completion that I have brought this first panel. Try to deny that you have never in your entire life seen a single image more latent with meaning, more complex yet more subtle, outrageous and discreet, discreet yet continuous. There is no preferred frame of reference. I challenge you to look and not be astonished. Around 2009, I was in the darkest mental state I'd ever experienced. From the eye of a whirlpool of despair, I looked at all that I had done with my life, both personally and artistically. One thing I had created stood out to me above everything else. A small black and white image, originally intended for nothing more than a promotional pamphlet. Yet zero. I determined to pull myself out of my depression and, God willing, make of Yetzirah what I saw latent within it. Of course, I haven't been working exclusively on it since that time. I can't paint unless I can throw myself completely into it. My ability increases the longer I've been in that state of mind. It takes a while to get into the zone. So unless I can guarantee a whole week, say, of 8-hour days, I won't even try to paint. I'd be just loosening up when it'd be time to pack up. The greatest surprise of all I've left, of course, until last. There is, as you can see, no end to Yetzirah. It tiles the plane. It is continuous in whichever direction the eye chooses to roam. Backward, forward, up, down, in, out, from beginning to end. There is no boundary. There is